Welcome to the public AMA. Neil, you have the first question.
Sorry about that. Thanks, Sid. Yeah, congratulations. Happy Monday. And I am super curious about what was going through your mind last week. I was actually rewatching the videos to confirm these suspicions, but you seemed very excited, obviously, but also super calm. So what was going through your mind kind of during the main event? And then you had a bunch of interviews like the CNBC one. I'd love to learn about.
Yeah, thanks, Neil. I think I was excited, but not worried. I felt like we had this, we were well prepped, and a lot of pressure on kind of the finance and legal teams and the external advisors to make an event like that go well. I think they were very well prepped, and then we put the bar very high with the live stream. No one's ever done live stream the whole day before. With that, I think we did a lot of work, but also if you do something super ambitious, you should also be you should be okay with a variety of outcomes. And turned out that we did amazing, and that it all went fine. But even if it hadn't gone all fine, like that's what happens when you do very ambitious stuff. So I felt relaxed. I slept like 8 hours the day before. I think you mentioned the CNBC interview. I think with the 2 broadcast interviews, that got my heart racing a little bit. You should imagine you get into a studio, you get mic'd up, but then for 5 minutes, you just hear kind of the show through your earpiece, and then there's silence when there's commercials. There's all kinds of lights on you. It gets hot, and you only have a camera in front of you. There's like no human to talk to. It's kind of a weird feeling. So that was exciting. That got my heart racing it a little bit. But other than that, everyone said and try to enjoy the day. So I felt that made a ton of sense. It's probably a once in a career experience, and I did enjoy it very, very much.
Thank you, Sid. Frederick, you have the next question.
I will verbalize on Frederick's behalf because he can't join the call today. But hi, Sid, and congratulations and thank you for the big day last week. What do you think are the next big thing for us in terms of product as well as sales motions?
Yeah, thanks for the question. There's a lot. So this is more like I'm going to give this from the CEO, what's on top of my mind perspective. If you want to know what our company priorities are, look, those are in the OKRs. Be happy to walk you through them. I think product-wise, it's stability, both in the short term, but also longer term. My next meeting after this is talking about pods. So that has my attention. Pods is a way to horizontally scale the application. I think security, I think we have with the kind of the new valuation of the company, we've become a bigger target, and I think we should reflect on that. And then the next generation initiatives like Project Horse, 5-minute production app, and incubation engineering, things like that. This morning I was reading all kinds of opinion articles about Cloudflare and how that's developing. That's super interesting. Go-to-market wise, it's a combination of different things. First of all, hiring, super important to do that consistently. Making sure that we change the narrative, that we're able to kind of get the market to understand that companies will have to move from DIY DevOps to a DevOps platform. Partner even better and closer with companies like AWS and GCP. Yeah, those are some things that come to mind. Maybe look at how we how we get more efficient as well.
Thank you. And then one other question from Frederick. What worries you most these days?
Well, first of all, we're in a better spot than we've ever been at. So I'm less worried than I was a couple of years ago. But as I said, expectations are high. But I'm less worried. But there's a lot to live up to now, and that's I think that's great.
Great, thank you. Seth, you're next.
I'll verbalize Seth's question. So Seth says, first of all, thanks for ensuring the listing day was remote first. It truly felt like all team members were a part of it. Was your trip to New York the first time you met some team members in person? What was that like?
Yeah, of course, there were some people I met for the first time in New York City, but I'll dwell a bit on, yeah, it was a great remote first experience, and I'm very proud. I think our marketing team probably produced content at 2 orders of magnitude faster speed than we ever have, and it was a very big lift to get that all as part of the live stream. But I think in the end, we managed to make something that was very engaging, and very proud of all the hard work by a huge set of people, mostly in marketing, but also like legal who had to review it. And there's lots of people. Also externally, like NASDAQ helped us a lot. I heard that it was like one of the first times they had all control rooms active to make sure it was a good experience. And all the people who contributed videos. Omar, you and I have like went out on Twitter and said, hey, can people help us out? Can they record footage? And so many people showed up and selflessly contributed. So really great, and very proud that for the people who were not in New York, that they perceived it as a remote first experience. That's super awesome. Also, like, I don't know, my family and friends were all watching the live stream. They thought it was super fun as well. So that was great to hear.
Yeah, so you're now one of the top 5, top 10 wealthiest people from the Netherlands. What do you think? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's a bit surreal. I think we, although kind of the last few days went better than I ever hoped for, we had some time to get used to that idea. I think for some people, like some of my family members, didn't have that opportunity. So for them, it was bigger, and that's both like how they're perceived by other people, security questions. So it was a bit of a transition. I think in a huge part, kind of that wealth comes from expectations and the stock market that you can have opinions on. So I think we want to make sure that we as a company focus on things we control by growing our revenue. But it's a big difference. Yeah, mostly to family members. So we spent some time talking through that in the weekend. Israel.
Yes, congratulations, Sid, on the IPO. Love being plugged in with the remote first option. So now that we have this big influx of capital, what are the top 3 investments GitLab plans to make with the new capital?
I think I can say that since Y Combinator, this company has never been capital constrained. So we will keep doing the same things we were doing. We were not under investing anywhere because we didn't have enough capital. We had to kind of create float in the company, so that was one of the reasons to issue new stock. But there's nothing changing in how we're spending our money going forward. And what that means is that, as always, we'll be spending if there's initiatives that have a very positive return on investment, voice them to your managers and we'll look at them. And at the same time, we're still looking at acquisitions like we have done in the past. Thanks for that question, Larry.
Well, last week was awesome. Congratulations. And thank you personally for inviting me on the journey. I don't know any billionaires until now. And I'm just curious what your personal goals and aspirations are with your newfound wealth. Initially, my question was personal and professional. You've addressed many of the professional. I'm curious on the personal side.
Yeah, thanks for that. I think that it's almost like in the company we cannot make any future forward-looking projections, and who knows what the future holds. I know what the past held. I know that I think my top 5 investments have been number 1 in a company run by my best friend called Sijbrandij. It's they make better chemo drugs, and I hope that someone will put the link in the doc so people can check it out. Very proud of the work he's doing, and I'm a very proud investor. And then there's a $5 million kind of donation to universal basic income project run by people close to Y Combinator, that I'm very excited about. And then there's an investment I make of $5 million in Swift Solar, a way to make solar cells that are orders of magnitude cheaper and lighter, which I think can make a big difference. So I think, in short, you should expect non-consensus investments from me, where I invest in things that other people shy away from.
Sid, thank you.
Thanks for asking, Hila.
Yeah, so I think reflecting your journey, taking GitLab from open source project to IPO, I'm very curious about your personal growth and kind of the evolvement. Which of your personal traits or personalities do you feel like help you most? And is there something you changed significantly, either a personality or your perspective about things from this journey?
Yeah, cool. I think something I share with Maren is that I'm a short-term pessimist and long-term optimist. We found a better way to say that without pessimism, but like we're very critical short-term of what can be better, and then very optimistic long-term of what we can achieve. I think that's been great. Me and Bruce Armstrong exchanged emails, and I said to Bruce, "Thanks for giving me the confidence to run the company as an early board member." From his perspective, he said, "Well, you had enough confidence. I was just trying to mellow you a little bit to make it more workable." I think that might have been how I came across, but I certainly wasn't convinced. I had a lot less confidence back then than I have now. Also, McBride had had a word during a dinner in New York, and he said that I was the iterative CEO because I kept kind of reinventing myself. So I hope that that will stay the case, because this company is going to keep changing, and I look forward to being with it for a long time. It will mean I'll have to change as well. I think I'm certainly not a perfect person in any means, but I've gotten a lot better as a leader over the last few years, and look forward to continuing that journey.
Thank you, Sid.
Hey, Sid, just want to say congratulations and just tell you how proud I am to be a part of this company and how much I appreciate your leadership. My question is, we all saw the prices kind of go up as you guys were going through your roadshow. What was one of the most interesting things, or one of the most unique pieces of feedback you heard during the roadshow?
I think there's some investors kind of did inquiry with they did a survey amongst like more than 100 people, I think, and like, what product do you intend to use for various DevOps stages? And I think GitLab got away very, very well with like most people expecting to go downstream with us. So that whole narrative that we have, like, hey, it's a DevOps platform, you can use it for all downstream stages, it's starting to resonate, not just with our customers, but with potential customers as well. That was cool to see. There was another investor who did a survey, and they asked if this product would triple in price, what would you do? And then basically customers can say, well, that's not fun that it triples, or they say, I'll stop using it, or I'll switch to something else. And with GitLab, 100% of the people said that's too bad. And that doesn't mean I'm announcing a price change now, not at all. It means that we're creating a ton of value for people, and that they recognize it. And I think we have a long way to go. Stages per organization, we should make sure we keep dialing that up, but it talks about all of that. Also, I have a list here of over, I think, 50 different subjects I want to talk about in a blog post about what it is to do an IPO. For example, if you fundraise in your S1, the initial version has $100 million as the amount of capital you intend to raise. And for everyone knows that that's a placeholder. Well, not everyone knows, like, it's there. And then I saw articles written about that. Like, there's so much like everyone knows kind of things that aren't really everyone knows. So we're going to write a blog post so a few more people know about it. So I'm looking forward to writing that post. I think asked Darren Murph whether he was interested. He might help me with that.
Awesome. Thanks. Congratulations again.
Yeah, congrats to all of us. Rebecca.
Yep, that's me. So thank you again. Last week was such an exciting time. So my question for you is a little bit reflective. If you could have a chance to go back and talk to yourself at a younger age, what would you tell yourself?
Oh, well, depends a bit what age. If it was kind of high school, it would be like, well, being different really sucks in high school, but it starts paying off later on in life. So hang in there. If it was in my professional career, it would have been like, go to San Francisco as soon as you possibly can. It was the start of GitLab. I think we we pay a little bit more attention to GitLab.com, although I started with GitLab.com, so I saw the potential of that from the beginning. I think, what would I do different? Maybe in hindsight, I would have fundraised a little bit less, but like, you don't know what the economy is going to do or what the company is going to do. So I think fundraising a bit earlier and then going full speed and then not having fundraising as a distraction has paid off. I think there's lots of smaller things we should do different, but I can't think of any really big things.
Heads up that we have less than 4 minutes.
Cool. Tim?
Yeah, I believe you made a relatively bold statement last week in that GitLab is the most public company to ever become public. Given that the past few months we've really aimed at qualifying what should and should not be public, does GitLab have a strategy in place to ensure that we remain as public as possible to continue being able to make that claim? One difficulty I foresee is just having insight into what information is public and whether or not it has been vetted or not vetted, and whether or not something should be private that was made private for a particular reason, so that it doesn't become the easiest thing to become private by default.
Yeah, thanks for that. First of all, what I said, I hope, is we believe that GitLab is the most public company to ever go public, and I recommend you say that in the same way. And then second, I think in the run-up to going public, I think we wanted to err on speed and making things private. I think there's a few things private now that shouldn't be, but we didn't have time to split them up or other reasons. So in the next few weeks, I'll look forward to working with our legal team and the other people to split those things up and make it a bit more nuanced and put some things that are now internal, make them public again. I'm not in a big rush because everyone's pretty tired and we should celebrate a bit, but I think that's I see a move from internal to public in the coming weeks instead of the other direction.
The legal team has done amazing work the past weeks and months.
Yep, and they deserve a little break from me nagging
absolutely
or for moving stuff back. And I think we did great. I think I'm surprised, frankly, with how much stuff we were able to keep public in part of this process. Now that we're on the other side, we can start looking at picking through stuff. But like, it's amazing that we came out on the public side with a handbook of 2,000 pages. We should be really proud. We did well, and kudos to our legal team for being sometimes the biggest advocates of transparency.
Now let Gosia verbalize her question.
Yes, thanks. I just want to ask Sid, how did you feel this morning starting your first day as a CEO of publicly traded company?
Yeah, thanks for that. I think that a lot of what you see kind of in the success now, the seeds for that have been sown many, many years ago. So it's the realization that now is the time to plant the seeds for success 3 years from now. I think that was going through my head and what those things were. And all the way from pods to 5-minute production apps and everything else.
Thanks for answering the question.
And the IPO blog post. Thanks, everyone.